This is Zack Feinberg from the Revivalists. You're listening to Shutter 16 magazine.
Oh, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us here at Shutter 16 Magazine today.
My pleasure. Thanks for chatting with me.
Absolutely. So, the band just released a brand new album, Poured Out into the Night. And I wanted
hmm
to ask about the title of the record because I feel like the Revivalists just always kind of pour, their heart and soul into everything they do. So, how did you guys come up
Thank
with
you.
the name for the record? And does it have any special meaning to any of you?
It does. Thank you for asking. So the name "Poured Out into the Night" comes obviously from the title track of the record, the song "Poured Out into the Night," and David wrote that one in the midst of the pandemic. He'd wake up sometimes in the night and have all this certainty. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to continue performing and and supporting ourselves with music and doing what we love and what's our lifeblood. So he would wake up and walk out to his shed and turn on the microphone and just start playing some guitar and singing. And he came up with that chorus, that line, poured out into the night, just as because that's what he was doing. He was letting go of his emotions and expressing himself in front of a recording microphone in the night. And I think it's a really beautiful, transcendent track. It's one of my favorites. Um, and also, it's a unique title. It's hard to come up with titles for anything that hasn't been used before. And in this instance, this is a unique title. So we thought it was a good idea to go with that one for the album name. And it's also sort of representative of a theme that we talk about in a lot of our music, which is an unburdening of sorts and getting it off your chest, getting things off your chest, and sharing in what might be going on internally with the world and dealing with it.
Yeah, it does really seem to be a perfect fit for sure.
Thank,
Tell
thank
us a
you.
little bit about how this record came together. Was it written mostly during the pandemic? Is that kind of when it first started?
Maybe half and half. A good bit was written prior to 2020. Um, there were several that were written during that time period, and most of it, I mean, all of it was in pre-production and recorded during that time period, um, the last 2 years or so. Um, but it just depends track by track. Some maybe like five of them were written sort of in that 1 year of the height of it.
Okay. Now, the songs really touch on a lot of different topics. Was there anyone in particular that was kind of difficult to write about for you and for anyone else in the band?
Hmm. Um. Let me think. Sometimes lyrics can be hard, and it could be a struggle, and you have to really push and try hard. But I wouldn't say off the top of my head that there was a topic in there that felt like I didn't want to talk about that's on this one. Uh, I mean, that could be the case for Dave. I just don't want to speak on his behalf as far
Sure.
as lyrical intention. But yeah, I think I know that we banged our heads against the wall for quite a while on to get to the chorus of Kid. Dave and I had a co-writing session that we spent a couple hours just to get to land on it, and then we weren't sure that it was a chorus at first, and then we sort of realized that that's the chorus, which ended up being the chorus.
Gotcha.
But what happened was like we sort of had it, and then I had the cadence and the melody of it sort of in my head, and I wrote several variations, and we ended up liking a lot of them. So none of the choruses on that song are the same. They all end differently because they're which is not something that is typically encouraged in songwriting to have your chorus not be the same each time.
Right.
but but we liked what we had, and I'm proud of that one. So
Yeah, let's
glad.
talk a little bit more about Kid if you don't mind for a moment, because that,
Sure.
you've got the original version and then more recently the acoustic version came out, and it's always amazing to me how how much more intense, I guess, a song can be when it's kind of stripped back a little bit. So, what was it about that song in particular that made you guys want to do, an alternate version of it?
Um, I think a lot of our songs could be presented that way. Really, any of them. Um, but Kid, I'm super proud of the production that we do have on Kid. But also, there's a lot going on, and the song was written based off of acoustic guitar and singing more or less, so it made sense to present it in that sort of stripped back way, and also just as sort of a um as sort of just showing that the the body of the song is stands up really well on its own. It doesn't need all the bells and whistles necessarily, because it's the integrity of the song is still there, performed pared
Absolutely.
back.
Absolutely. Now, you and David you just got such a great chemistry, with songwriting and such a natural flow. What is it about the two of you that, makes such a good songwriting team?
I think it's that we just have a genuine personal friendship and connection, that and sort of trust and respect of one another. Um, so and also that we're quite familiar with the other person's strengths and how we like to work, and we're comfortable with one another at this point. And
Excellent.
also, we want to deliver. We're each of us are eager to do something great. And when we get together, we're always trying to reach higher.
What has the response to the new record been like so far? Are you pleased with it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't be displeased with it. It's very positive, and that's the song has been performing super well on the radio. It's like we're like number two on the alternative chart behind the Foo Fighters right now. Kid was 6 weeks at number one on adult alternative. I mean, it wouldn't be reasonable for me to be displeased with it. Our fan base seems to be really connecting with it. People are sending us messages saying how meaningful variety of the songs are, not just one. And that fills me up. That it's very rewarding.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And there are so many great songs, on the record. And my personal favorite is, well, I can't say it's just one, but I really like Don't Look Back. And I also really, really like Down in the Dirt. So I think there's just,
Thank you.
they're all revivalist songs. I mean, you can listen to them and know,
Yeah.
but they're all just so slightly different and, each in their own way. And
Right.
it's so nice to hear some things like that. But the best way is for me is always listening live, and you guys are going to be going out on tour again, co-headlining with Band of Horses, and I think the Head and the Heart as well will be out with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
will you be performing a lot of these new songs on this run?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've had a handful of shows since the album came out, and the majority of the set list is from Poured Out into the Night, and it's super fun to be able to play these songs live and interpret them a little bit differently, and start to play with the arrangement and have fun with them. And it's just really refreshing. Also, it's because we've been holding on to these songs for quite a while now, to be able to share them with the world. And we're it's bringing a new kind of energy to the shows. Really, we see the audience reacting super favorably, and everybody's on our team and in our band is super energized about sharing these songs and performing them. And I think the audience is giving us that same energy.
That's fantastic. And you guys have a bunch of festival dates too, because this Sunday, I believe, you're going to be up in
Yep,
Tennessee for Bonnaroo. Tell us a
that's
little
right.
bit about what you like most about the big festival experiences.
it's like it's really fun to play these big festivals because it kind of gives you an opportunity to prove yourself to some people that maybe aren't so familiar with your music or your live show, and it's a chance to win over people that haven't seen you before, more so than people that are buying a ticket to see the Revivalists, which is also amazing. But at a major festival like Bonnaroo, it's just there's so many great artists on the bill, and people are coming to see all kinds of music. So it's very exciting to get to perform in front of such a massive audience and sort of show them what we do.
And you guys recently were able to make a return appearance on the Today Show. What was that like for you guys returning to the Today Show again?
It was nice. It was our third time doing it, and it just felt like less, we've done it before, so we were comfortable. It just felt fun, like it felt familiar. Like we recognized some of the crew people there, and we've talked with Jenna and Hoda before, and it was like seeing an old friend kind of, and it was just really fun to go up there and do it, and it was comfortable.
That's cool. I mean, my dad gets to see it when it's on when you guys play on a show like that, so that's kind of fun
Nice.
for me
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
You definitely
yeah.
get a little bit of a different audience, I think,
Oh yeah,
from that
yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
exposure. Now,
Yeah.
when you're out on the road and you guys are touring and busy, do you still do writing? And what are some of the things that kind of inspire you when you're out there, traveling and doing your thing?
I guess the kind of writing that I do when I'm on the road is more like it's less like completing, and it's more like the initial sort of fishing for things, because I'll sit in a hotel room or somewhere and play on the guitar and maybe start humming a new tune, and but it's less of the I don't generally have the energy to really like get in there and complete, like, you know put in the elbow grease to work over line by line, and put, but it's more of like a free flow sort of leisurely thing, because whenever I pick up a guitar, it's usually kind of I'm exploring and playing in it, and if there'll be something new that comes out. um but it's less like songwriting work mode, if that makes sense, and it's more of like a recreational, maybe let's see what comes out kind of thing, and then maybe I'll come back to some of those ideas and try to flesh it out more in a more diligent sort of way later on.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about Rev Causes 2023 and the importance, to the band of kind of giving back.
Yeah. So with Rev Causes, each year we pick different causes and charitable organizations to donate a portion of our funds to: ticket sales, our Patreon, um, and usually there's an environmental component. There's usually a childhood educational component, or a homelessness component. Um, I think this year we're supporting organizations in Louisiana that are helping to address the disappearing coastline and uh, issue, and we are working, I believe, with the New Orleans Innocence Project, um, to help wrongfully convicted inmates and regain their freedom. Um, in the past, we've worked with um, a organization called Kids Join the Fight, which supports research for pediatric cancer, and also um, care for them. So it's always a mixed bag, and it's all worthy causes, and it's just something benevolent that we can do in a small way to give back, and it's something that we're continuing to grow. And we also have sort of like a fund aside for um, emergencies that we'll run. Like if there's a hurricane or tornado somewhere, we'll print out a T-shirt, and all the proceeds of that will go towards a disaster.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you guys are continuing to do that. And thank you so much for joining us here today and kind of filling us in on the new record and the upcoming tour. We're excited about it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Have a great day.